Mount Rushmore, and the president, their faces are on the rock. Okay, that's very famous. And California has that very long bridge, very, very long, okay? We have Hollywood, Las Vegas. Texas, we have rodeo. Do you know rodeo? Cowboys, okay? Texas. Texas is right here, this state here, Texas. In the East Coast, we have New York, Boston. Boston, I really recommend going to Boston. Boston's really fun. A lot of history. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions? Any questions about traveling to the U.S.? I've been to many other countries. I've been to Japan, Switzerland, France, England, Mexico, Ecuador, Taiwan. So I've been to a few countries before. So I've had a lot of experience traveling and seeing new places and trying new things. So the first thing, like I said, before you go, is first you need to know what you want to do, where you want to go, how much money you want to spend, what you will bring, what you will buy. Those things are very important. And then you have to make your plan. Day 1, day 2, day 3. What am I going to do? Okay? And then, you know, you have to make sure some countries you need a visa. Okay? If I go to Taiwan, I need a visa in my passport. Or if you go to England, you need a visa. Okay? And sometimes it can be very, very hard to get a visa. You have to write a lot of information, and they need your thumbprint and your eye print and everything. It's very annoying, right? And then, when you go, you have to buy your tickets, your plane tickets, and you have to make sure you get the right day and how much money the plane tickets are, which is another thing. And then when you go, you have to get in the airport and figure out where you want to go in the airport. So it can be very frustrating. But after you travel maybe 1 or 2 times, it becomes very easy. Okay, you get used to it, you get more confident. So it's a very good thing to practice and make sure you have everything planned. Okay, you have your maps, you have your tickets ready, you have your passport ready in your bag, but you have to be very careful with your passport, because if you lose your passport in another country, I can't even think about it. That's my one biggest fear. If I go to another country and lose my passport, or my plane tickets, or my ID card, that would be so scary. So you have to keep track of those. Another thing to think about is insurance. Okay, if you get sick or hurt in another country, do you have enough money with you to pay for the hospital, right? Because the first time I came to Taiwan, I ate mango. And I didn't know I was allergic to mango. So I was in the hospital for 1 week in Taiwan, and my bill, the money I had to pay, like, it was scary. So you have to make sure you're prepared if something happens, if you have a plan. My uncle and aunt, they went to China, and they brought my cousins. My cousins then were very small, very little. And the people in China, they like to touch the kids and touch them, but they don't wash their hands. And so my cousins, they got very, very sick. Okay, they had sore throats and fever. And so the government, the Chinese government, told them to leave. Okay, so they had no plane ticket. So they had to buy a plane ticket, and they almost didn't have enough money to go back. So you never know what can happen. So it's good to be prepared if something does happen, right? So does anybody have any questions about traveling or any other countries? Any questions at all? Okay. If you want to go to another country or travel, or if anybody wants to study in the U.S. I know a lot of exchange students in the U.S. If you want to know about options, like sometimes you could stay cheaper, you could stay in a hostel, or if you want to stay in a hotel. Okay, those are two very, very different. And do you know what a hostel is? Have you heard of a hostel? Hostel? Write it down. So this is just one option that a lot of countries have. Thank you. Okay. So it's called a hostel. Okay, a hostel. And it's cheaper than a hotel. But the thing about a hostel is you have to share a room. Okay? You don't get hotel service, you know, room service at 12 o'clock in the morning. Hello, can I have room service for two? You know, so you have to do everything yourself. You have to wash your clothes. You have to buy your own food. It's very simple. Okay, very, very simple. So it's cheaper than, the next would be a motel. Okay, so that's a little more expensive. But a motel is different in every country. In Taiwan, you have motels, but they're usually for doing certain things, okay? In Taiwan's motels are they have certain reasons for going to motels. In the US, motels are very disgusting, okay? You don't want to stay in a motel in the US. They're very, very low, and they also have bugs, and they don't clean very well. So I would not stay in a motel in the U.S. But a motel in another country might be nicer, okay? Sometimes when I'm traveling in Taiwan, I go to a motel, okay? But some motels are different than others in Taiwan. Some motels are for boyfriends and girlfriends, okay? And some motels are for sleeping. Very different, okay? The next is a hotel. Okay, a hotel is going to be more expensive, okay? You have your 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hotels. And if I stayed in a hotel in Taipei, it's going to be more expensive than if I stayed in a hotel in, let's say, Inge or another place different, okay? When you're outside of the city. Also, if I stayed in a hotel in London, it's going to be more expensive than if I stayed in a hotel outside London. Okay, so those are also things to think about. Then you have your resort. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Okay, when you have a hotel plus a big piece of land, okay, and they're usually 5 stars. Okay, they're usually 5 stars and very, very expensive. But they're nice because, you know, you don't have to go outside. You can go swimming, you can go dancing, you can go eating, everything you want at the resort. So that's really nice. Sometimes the resort you don't even have to leave. So it's a very nice place to stay. But the 5-star ones are very, very expensive. So these are the different types. We also have things called inns. Okay, these these are kind of a mix between a hostel and a motel. We also have, in the U.S., we have RV parks. Okay, we have these long cars called motorhomes. Okay, they're called RVs, and you can sleep inside and go camping. Okay, we have RV parks. I'm trying to think what else. I know in England they have a special name. In Switzerland they have chalets. In Switzerland and France they're called chalets, and it's like a hotel, kind of like a hotel. But they're usually on the mountainside. Okay. Usually on the mountainside, and you stay in the chalet, and you can go skiing and do a lot of hiking and stuff in a chalet. This is a very ugly chalet, but you get my idea. So there's many different places you can stay and options. The lowest and cheapest option you can do is camping. Okay? Camping. You stay in a tent. Okay? That is the cheapest, okay, least expensive. But it can be very dangerous if you don't know the animals and the people of the area. Okay? The U.S., I love to go camping, but you have to be very careful because we have bears and snakes and people. You never know what could happen. So camping is kind of a risky thing, especially when you're in another country. Okay, so these are some ideas to keep in mind. Some hostels are very nice. In London, I stayed in a really nice hostel, very clean. Everybody was very friendly. But in Chicago, USA, I stayed in another hostel and I left because it was so bad. Okay, not safe, very dirty. Okay, a lot of very loud people. Okay, so you never know what will happen or what you will get. I've stayed in really nice motels, and I've also seen very bad hotels or motels. I've stayed in really nice hotels in New York, but I've also stayed in a so-so hotel in Washington. Okay, so there's very different in certain places. So it's good to first look at the hotel before you go in and you order a room. Sometimes people will cheat you. When you go to order a hotel online, when you reserve a room online, they put a fake picture. It's not the real picture on there. So you get there and there's bugs crawling and everything's really disgusting. So you have to be careful because some people will cheat your money. Sometimes if you go online to get a room, you give them your credit card, right, your Visa number, and they steal your money. You get there and there's no hotel, okay? So there's things like that that can happen, so you have to be careful. So there's some websites that I trust, okay? Here are some good websites.